All right, Fred, I figured we could get started here. And I saw that you just asked the question, having everyone type into the Q&A section where you're from. I don't think there's actual chat bar or chat box on this version of Zoom webinar, but we go with the Q&A. And I'm sure some questions will pop up as we go through this here in the next 30 minutes or so. And feel free to type those in and we'll do our best to answer them all as we get through our material that we want to present. So
Yeah.
you want to kick us off, buddy?
Yeah, well, we're here today to talk about a day in the life of a real estate agent. I mean, let's face it, I feel like there's a lot of energy around real estate in our world. Not that everybody wakes up and wants to be a real estate agent, but there are a lot of folks that kind of wonder, what's the real estate industry like? Like, what do you guys do? Like, how do you function? What's it really like? Maybe what do I see on TV versus like, what do you guys actually do? And there's obviously a lot of questions in today's day and age, Kevin, around like, are we overcompensated? Are we fairly compensated? Are we undercompensated? And so I'm excited to just sort of peel back the curtain a little bit on what a day in the life of a real estate agent looks like. What does a career of a successful real estate agent look like? Maybe what does the beginning or the start of one's real estate career look like? So thank you guys so much for being here today.
Yeah. Well, Fred, let's get started with a little bit about myself and you. My name is Kevin Kauffman. Obviously, the other person here on the screen is Fred Weaver. We are business partners in a real estate team called Group 4610. I started selling real estate in May of 2007. Great timing. And Fred, you had already been licensed, what, 2.5, 3 years at that point?
Yeah, I've been in since 2004. Yep.
Awesome. And so shortly after that, 2008, we decided to start working together and we have built a real estate business. We're a team, if you will, called Group 4610. We have had many iterations over the years and worked with hundreds and hundreds of agents literally. And we've helped a lot of agents get their careers started. So we're excited to share with you guys a little bit about what we believe to be true about real estate and being a real estate agent, more importantly, being a successful real estate agent. And hopefully we'll have some questions as well. And we'll get to all those as we move along.
Yeah. Do us a favor. I'm real interested, like what even has you interested in being on this webinar? Or if you are already interested in real estate, what has you interested in a career in real estate? I know there's varying degrees. So do us a favor, type that in, submit us a little request here or a little chat or Q&A so we can see what's going on. I think there's a lot of different motivations and different interests on why people get into real estate to begin with, Kevin. We see some people that they're just fed up of working a job and working for the man or the boss. And so they want to start their own career. And truthfully, real estate has a pretty low barrier of entry, which is what makes it so attractive and has a very high upside on the income side of things. There's other people that get into real estate as a dual career. It's something they're adding on, right? Like they already have a career, they make a lot of money in it, but at some point in time, they would like to leave that career or they'd like to be able to diversify their efforts and make money in more than one arena. So I think, there's a lot of different reasons people get into this business. You and I had our very own reasons, and I know those of you watching today have had yours as well.
Yeah, I think about some of those reasons why people become real estate agents. And the first thing that comes to me is an agent on our team. I saw him this morning and he is still really a newer agent. He's in his fourth year in real estate. And he came to us right out of real estate school. And I remember him saying, "Hey, I want to learn. I want to do this." And the reality is the first year was really tough on him. And he almost quit a couple times, but we both sat down with him separate times and said, "Hey, basically promise me you'll do what I'm teaching you to do. And don't quit. Don't go to this other team that makes a lot of promises that are probably going to be empty. Just commit to doing these things." And he looked us in the eyes and he said, "I promise you I'll do that." And to be able to see him more than quadruple his income over the last 3 years and this year being on pace for even significantly more money, well into the 200s, if not almost $300,000 net take home for him has been so awesome. And so to be able to see people do that, like, let's face it, money and being able to create freedom through cash. Like at the end of the day, we all have bills, right? And being able to do that, that's a motivation for becoming a realtor. And that's great. That's the great thing about this industry is you can really make a super high income, or maybe you just like helping people, right? Maybe you like to help families who need to move on to the next home because they're in the next phase of their life. Fred and I started our real estate career. I mentioned I got licensed in '07. We've been working together since 2008. And the reality is, most of the homes that Fred and I sold early in our career were something called the short sale, where you're helping people in a hard time because their home was literally worth less money than what they owed on their mortgage. And so the term short sale stands for that. And we were helping people do that and helping people kind of get on with their lives, because being behind on home payments or being in a home that's too small or even too big, that can be a challenge for a lot of families. And so to be able to help people change their lives and kind of move on to where they need to go, that's such an awesome feeling.
Yeah, it really is. I'd love to talk for a little bit because this is a day in the life of a real estate agent. I'd love to talk about some of the roles and responsibilities and like what does a real estate agent look like? Like what's a great real estate agent look like, right? And I think hard work cannot be underemphasized in this business. You sort of alluded to it earlier. This business offers so much money and time freedom. But that does also have to be earned, right? And it's earned through hard work in the beginning. Like any new business, getting something off the ground takes a little bit more work, right? There's some more effort put into getting something launched than there is maybe once you're soaring and once you have things going. But hard work and honesty in this industry, like they, I mean, I suppose we could say that about any industry, but the people that we see that make the most money, that actually have done this business really well year in and year out, the agents on our team that excel at the highest level, they're not afraid of hard work, and they're definitely not afraid of tough conversations and just being authentic and real and putting their clients first.
Yeah, and I think by hard work, I think of the word focus. Like if you want to be successful in real estate, you've got to be able to focus a certain amount of your time every day. I feel sorry for a lot of real estate agents, especially early on, because we have this notion of what it's like to sell real estate. Maybe we saw something on HGTV, or maybe you have a friend who's a realtor, or maybe you watch a lot of realtors on social media, and it looks glamorous, but the reality is the average real estate agent, they've got to they've got to prospect for business, meaning they've got to go out and find people to hire them. Believe it or not, people don't just fall out of the sky and into your lap and say, "Hey, I need you to help me buy or sell real estate," just because you got a real estate license. So you've got to prospect and generate business. You've got to show homes. You've got to negotiate contracts. And then if you get a contract, you would think that's where, hey, all right, I'm good. But now this is where the hard work comes in, right? This is where you're talking about scheduling inspections, coordinating with title companies, coordinating with appraisers, coordinating with mortgage lenders, you name it, like everything to get to the closing takes just as much and usually way more hours of work than even getting to a contract. And that's like the average agent, like that it's hard work. So we really mean like this is real hard work. You can't just come in and hope to wing it and think that stuff's just going to come to you. Now there's an advantage for some agents, like on our team, we've mentioned a couple examples where if you join a good team, I like to think our team's a good team, then as an agent, you can concentrate on finding business. You get to concentrate on showing property or listing properties, and then having our amazing support staff really handle all of the back end for you, right? That's how this model has helped the, some of our agents. I think of like Stephanie and Joe and Brandy and so many others. It's helped them build a real business inside of another business. And it's been pretty amazing.
Yeah, well, in the day-to-day life of a real estate agent, I think, and TV has created some of this, but we all see what's on HGTV or, whatever show you watch, right? Where it's like they only show the agent who already has the buyer client, right? Or the seller client, like doing the actual fun stuff, right? I say fun stuff, showing the houses or whatever it may be. And like you referenced there, Kevin, there's so much that goes on before that point. Like the actual like generating of the business, prospecting for the business is such a heavy lift. And I think it's probably where most real estate schools let people down a little bit is they spend zero time on teaching people how to go out and get the business. And they spend all their time just teaching people how to not lose their real estate license. Now, it's important to not lose your real estate license and know the real estate laws in your state, but it's also important to figure out that, hey, I got to put some work into actually finding clients, like the average agent, the agent not on a team, Kevin, these people have have to, like, in the prospecting, they have to figure out, number one, like their marketing. They have to figure out, like, do I have a budget? If I do, where am I going to spend it? Let's say, for instance, I said, well, I could get a lot of leads on the internet. Well, like, how many people know how to go out and run Google ads and Facebook ads and optimize them at a high level, and really dial in their cost per click, and really dial in their cost per lead, and really, make sure they're finding motivated buyers and sellers, not just looky-loos online. And so, like, that's all the stuff that an average agent has to do. They have to figure out not just how to, earn business and meet with clients and show properties and handle the inspections and all the stuff you mentioned, but they got to figure out all the stuff ahead of there, all the marketing, it's hard work, right? It'd be like, I kind of sometimes say this, but it'd be like opening an ice cream store. And like, not only do you make the ice cream, you had to put all the flavors together, but then you had to man your ice cream shop, like 12 hours a day that it was open. And then you've got to be the accountant on the back end handling the money, right? And you got to be the one that handles all the city ordinances and regulations around food safety or whatever. Like, the point of my story is, like, owning a business is a lot of work. And the average real estate agent thinks that maybe when they come in, they're just going to sell some real estate to some people and that's all. But there's so much work that can be done. And as you reference, like, this is where the majority of people in 2024 and 2025, this is where they're choosing to actually join a real estate team. Now, it doesn't have to be ours. I'm not trying to shove our team down anyone's throat, but there's a reason people are plugging into teams, because they're recognizing that, what, all this stuff over here, like, I don't have time to get good at everything. I only have so much time that I can put into learning new skills. And I'd rather learn the skills of, like, speaking to clients and holding great presentations and showing properties, right? And negotiating contracts. I don't really want to deal with all the marketing side of things. I don't want to deal with the advertising. I don't even know the little, little about inspections. And I've only maybe bought a house before, but working with the lender, I didn't understand any of what that process was. So there's a lot of power in aligning with real estate teams in this day and age to simplify your job.
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest differences for agents, kind of your average real estate agent that's out there doing this on their own, and one on our team. One's on our team, they've got structure, they've got a lot more work-life balance. That's not to say that getting started, you're going to have a lot of balance. You're not. But your daily schedule is going to be a lot more structured and is going to offer more balance than if you're trying to do everything together. It's either that or you're going to fall into the realities of real estate, which is, this is the sad part, guys. Most agents fail. Like, there's highs and lows to being a realtor. The high is uncapped income potential. The high is you really, at the end of the day, kind of work for yourself. At the end of the day, you've got some flexibility. You don't have freedom, but you do have some flexibility, right? And the truth is, 87% of agents fail out within the first few years. I mean, and here's maybe even the scarier part. You make it past that, you're not one of the 87%. Let's say you're part of the 13% that actually make it. It's another scary statistic is that you got about 7% of real estate agents that literally earn about 93% of the income that's made from all realtors. To say that another way, your average real estate agent in America with 2 years or less of experience makes on average $8,800 a year. I'm gonna say that again. The average real estate agent in America with 2 years or less of experience is averaging $8,800. The realities of being a real estate agent is that you can't afford to be the average real estate agent because they fail and don't even stay in the business. And then the ones that do, for the most part, can't even make a living wage,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it costs $1,000 or $2,000 a year now just to keep up a license. I'm not even talking about advertising or marketing or, gas and fuel. I'm just talking about paying your licensing fees, having access to the MLS, joining your board, your broker fees. Like, it's not inexpensive, right? And so most people don't want to spend 2 grand to maybe make 8,000, right? There's got to be a better way. And I think this is where most people that desire to get into real estate and they look at what's the life of a day in the life of a real estate agent look like. Well, a really great real estate agent, they have a very predictable business, right? Like, they don't wake up and go, I don't know what to do today. I'm not sure who I should talk to. I'm going to sit around and wait for my phone to ring, right? Like, they're not sitting around and waiting. They have a predictable business, right? They're actually operating on a game plan. They know who to talk to, they know what to say, and they know if they talk to enough people and say the right things every single day that they're going to find results inside of that, right? And so that's really, I mean, that's the exciting part of getting into real estate is when you do find people to align with who are clear on the metrics that you need to make happen, that can give you the advice and can actually help with the accountability and the coaching and the training around it. You can take an uncertain business and you can make it predictable.
Yeah. And let's face it, wanting to make it predictable, like that's where we should all want to be. You've got to have number one, I think to do that, you've got to have a schedule, right? Or another way this could be said is you want to work on purpose. You don't want to just do things by accident. So many agents show up to the office, if they even go to an office, uh, and they're kind of like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do today, right? So I know one of the things that we do is we talk about that with our team, and we'll dive into more of those tools in a moment, but we talk about like what does the daily structure look like? Because we want to be able to work on purpose. We want to go through our day knowing, hey, we've got a schedule and we've got things to do every day. And if we do that, we're going to find some success versus just kind of hoping, wishing, wanting business to kind of come through the door, which is the reality. That's what most agents want to do. And, one of the cool things is I think we're part of an amazing real estate brokerage with EXP
Mhm.
that our team is aligned with, and they offer all kinds of extra incentives and bonuses to real estate agents like revenue share and stock to be able to help the agents who do get going, like have more than one stream of income, right? Granted, we're going to focus on helping buyers and sellers and getting paid a commission, but it's also nice to be able to have other ways to create income for the future. So that way it's not always about that as we hopefully build and really have a long lasting career. So Fred, let's talk about some of the support system that we offer here at Group 4610.
Yeah, well, for a later date, we could show some graphics and some things that would really dial this in. But I mean, first of all, we have an incredible support staff on our team, right? So we have transaction coordinators. They're the people that once you do actually have a contract with somebody, they hold your hand and they take care of all the details. Most real estate agents that are great at prospecting are terrible at paperwork and details. It's just a little thing we figured out. Now, if you're great at details, that's awesome. I tend to be okay at them. But it's also really nice to not have to focus on everything because once you go get a piece of business, like you have to realize that like you kind of wake up every day as a real estate agent unemployed, right? Like you have to wake up every day unemployed. Like my job is to go out and find more business. So I don't want to necessarily be dragged into a half a day's worth of managing my current transactions. I want to go out and just create more transactions. And on our team, we have transaction coordinators and listing coordinators that help with that. We have an entire marketing department, right, Kevin, that not only makes beautiful brochures and great, business cards and everything else, but they handle all of our online lead generation. They actually tee up people that are actually online looking to buy or sell real estate, right? We've got coaching and training. We do weekly trainings throughout the week. We have daily huddles and things that go on. And so we have a culture of accountability, right? And all of this on our team is really powered through great people and great technology. And I think that's one of the things that is probably overlooked a little bit in our industry is just how much as a real estate agent throughout the day we rely on technology to make us more efficient, to remind us who to speak to, right, to keep us on the path and make that business predictable as we talked about earlier.
Yeah, I think of some of the other things that, should you actually find success in real estate and keep going, there's all these things that you've got to kind of start to add on to your business. And you talked about some of them, transaction management and CRMs and websites and different tools. And then you've got the marketing and advertising side, like how do I build a brand? What about social media graphics? And these are all things that we help with, right? Or listing presentations or buyer presentations, or what about the photography for when I do get a listing and the 3D tours, or all these sorts of things. And now that I've got a business, what kind of business systems do I have? How do I track my activity so that way I can see what I'm doing and the current results I have and what I would have to do if I wanted to make more? Maybe I want to double my income next year, right? What about things like virtual assistants or even in-person assistants to help me get more stuff done, or for sales signs? There's just so much that goes into building a real estate career that's successful. that, don't get me wrong, you don't have to have that all here on day one. I'm not trying to scare you, but if you can leverage that over time with a team, that's really going to be the way you can build a scalable, successful business that pays you for a long time to come.
Yeah, you kind of touched on a few things earlier, Kevin, but I want to circle back, maybe offer a few additional statistics. The reality is that most people don't make it in this business, right? Now, we don't share that with you to deter you, to defeat you, to get you depressed. We share it with you so you know what you're facing. So you know that, hey, I got to take this very seriously. If I'm going to actually spend the time and invest the time into getting a real estate license, I'm not just going to haphazardly hang my real estate license at the cheapest brokerage or the first person that I liked. I really have to fight against the odds, if you will, right? And the odds say that 87% of real estate agents fail out within their first 3 years, right? 87% don't make it to 3 years, right? And then, as you said, even the ones that hold on to that license, the stats would say that most of them aren't soaring at the level that they would like to be. So what do you need to do? Like, how do you defense against that? Knowing that's the landscape that's out there, what do you do? Well, you can guard that. What I did in my first 6 months in real estate is I chose a broker who was going to shoot me really straight. I chose somebody that would coach me and be incredibly direct. You've heard me say it before. I chose this guy, Paulie from New York, because Paulie was a straight shooter and I knew he wouldn't BS me, Kevin. And I knew going in that most people didn't make it. So I was like, I want you to be honest with me. I want you to be brutal to a degree, but I want you to make sure you steer me in the right direction. Don't just pat me on the back and say, great job, your activity looks good. I want you to actually tell me, like, it doesn't matter. Unless I cash checks, none of this matters. So activity is important, but activities have to lead to results, right? And so when you choose a brokerage, or you choose a team to partner with, I think one of the most important things you can do is like, hey, do these people really, give a blank about me? Do these people really care? Are they really going to roll up their sleeves and tell me the truth and not let me just get away with, haphazardly putting in effort or, patting me on the back saying, good job, it's okay. Most people don't sell real estate in their first 6 months. No, you want people that are in your corner. They're going to hold you accountable. They're going to coach you up. You're going to want to be in an environment of other producers. That's the other thing. You can join a lot of brokerages out there and a lot of teams, but if you don't align with people who are also doing business, you're going to miss out on it. I mean, you've heard me say this quote. I love it. Like, more is caught than taught. And what I think that means to me is, like, I always want to put myself in a room with other producers. I don't just want to watch a YouTube video of a guy that was successful or join a webinar of Kevin and Fred. I want to be in a room day in and day out, especially the first 6 months of my real estate career, with people that are actually doing this at a high level, because I'm going to hear their conversations. I'm going to pick up on the way they talk. I'm going to see who comes to the office first and leaves last. Like, there's a lot I'm going to learn by putting myself in that environment. And so again, 87% don't make it to year 3. What can you do? What can a new agent do that's entering this business to combat that stat?
Yeah, it's tough, or I should say it can be very tough to get started and to get building. I think of a few agents that have joined us over the years as brand new agents. Some are the record. We've had an agent actually sell over 70 homes by himself in his first year having a real estate license. We've had other agents who have sold 20, 30, 40. Those are all really big numbers for a brand new agent. And the reality is we've seen a lot of people do it. Now, unfortunately, we've seen a lot more people fail in this industry, but within our own team, we've seen a lot more people succeed. Why? Because they come in and there's some structure. There's a lot of coaching and guidance. There's a training program and an onboarding program. And then you said this word just a little bit ago, Fred, accountability. There's some accountability because the reality is if you want to have rapid growth in a real estate business, you've got to have a couple things. Number one, you got to have hard work, but you've got to have education and you've got to have accountability. If you don't have education so you can learn more, because there is a lot to learn in this industry, and then you don't couple that with accountability, you'll never be able to achieve the type of success that you'd like to have in real estate. And I'm here to tell you it's totally doable, but you've got to be in the right environment that can help you by bringing that level of accountability and by bringing that education to you, right? Those are key pieces to building a massive real estate career.
Yeah, I love that you said that, like the environment. And, a lot of times at this point, people will say, well, What's the next step? How do I get to know more about your team? And, a lot of these real estate schools now, Kevin, they hand out, 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper with 40 questions on them, and here's the deal. We could sit down with you. One option is Kevin or I could sit down with you and share more about our team, get to know you and your goals, and talk to you about what we do. It's a good option. It really is. I think the best option, another option would be that you could actually come in and experience it for yourself. Like if you joined this webinar, A Day in the Life of a Real Estate Agent, I got to imagine you might have an interest in actually hanging out with a real estate agent for half a day, or maybe you want to go the full day. But we run some trainings throughout the week. You can show up and see what those are like. You can see what you learn, maybe what you've been missing in real estate school, what they haven't told you. You could listen to our agents on the phone, actually making calls. You could shadow some people going out on appointments or holding appointments in our office. But I think there's a lot to be said. As I mentioned earlier, more is caught than taught. There's a lot to be said about not just taking the empty promises from teams and brokerages out there in the industry of what they can do for you. And a lot more can be said about just showing up at their office and being a fly on the wall for a half a day and seeing what you learn and what you walk away from. And so that's what I would invite folks that are on here watching right now is reach out to us. We're not hard to find. You've got our email addresses, you've got our phone numbers in the emails that you've received, and request to come to, spend a half a day with us, spend 2, 3, 4 hours in our office, actually interacting with top agents and seeing up close and personal what that day is actually like.
Yeah, and I'd say for some reason you found this webinar by happen chance, somebody shared it with you. Just go to our website. Just go to our regular website. It's group4610.com. That's group4610.com. You'll see in the top right corner, there's a button that says we're hiring. Click that. You can reach out to us, put a little message in the box. One of us will get it, or somebody on our staff will get it, and we'll just give you a call and invite you in to do that. Like we're available. We want to help you. Not a high pressure situation. We really want you to be able to see what it's like kind of day to day of a real estate agent. And let's find out if this is for you or not. Let's see, maybe we're a fit to help you do that. You might discover that, hey, it's not for me, or you might get really excited and realize, you know what? I can do that too. I could do that. I could build a really big business, and then maybe all my dreams can come true as well.
It's been 20 years now that I took the leap into real estate as an early 20-year-old, and I didn't know much, Kevin. I wasn't sure what to do, but like I've never regretted this business for a day. This has been the best business I've ever, been a part of. The opportunities and the unlimited potential is incredible. I just would leave by saying that most of you already know that. That's why you came here to this webinar. You know what the upside is. I really want you to take a serious approach to sort of defensing against the statistics of our industry, right? Because most people fail out, what could you do to put yourself in a situation where that wouldn't happen? Who could you surround yourself that's already doing it at a high level? How could you get accountability and coaching and just transparency and authentic relationships of people that care about you? Where could you show up every day where there would actually be a predictable business model that could be put in front of you, where if you were willing to do the work, results would come out the other side? And sometimes that scares us when I say stuff like that intensely, right? Because we're like, whoa, I may have gotten in this business to like not have a boss. That sounded kind of intense. Well, I'm going to suggest a little bit more of intense approach needs to be taken your first 6 to 12 months in real estate. And that first 6 months needs to be honored, and you need to put in a ton of hard work if you're going to come out on the other side and really realize that huge upside and that huge potential for incredible income.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point. So I guess I'll leave with this. If any of this resonates with you, if anything that we've said resonates with you, here's how to get started. Just again, go to group4610.com, click on the little we're hiring button, or reach out to one of us directly, schedule a time to come in, shadow the team, meet with us, and see if this is the right fit for you.
I look forward to connecting with you soon. Thanks so much for joining us today, Kevin, and I hope we help some people move forward.
All right, guys, we'll see you soon.